things just continue to get worse, it seems like, for Disney. It doesn't matter if you're talking about the box office, streaming, the theme parks, all this stuff. And now all the legal action. They've got investors and shareholders that are suing them for misrepresenting what a failure Disney Plus actually is. And on the other side, their legal battle with the state of Florida isn't going very well. In fact, they just recently dropped almost all of the business-related complaints they had against the state of Florida and Ron DeSantis. There's only one active still, and that's their infringing on freedom of speech. I don't think they've got much of a chance of that doing anything in court either, as most actual legal analysts that are taking a fair look at this have said. And of course, their stock price has been slashed in terms of where people think it can recover to. We're starting to hear these rumors about them selling to Apple. All the while, it looks like Bob Iger is getting so much heat for the way he treated everything when he stepped down, the way Bob Chapek was treated while he was there, basically just like a bitch. And it feels like all of Disney's problems are coming to the surface within the last, say, year or so in every aspect of their business. Obviously, Jay, you keep up with the theme parks a lot.
It doesn't look good as far as the theme park side goes. Even the Disney adults were kind of predicting that if they don't change things, like people are just going to choose not to go, because what they did when they reopened, they introduced this thing called Genie Plus, which is basically turned the rides into like a carnival ticket system, where if you wanted to get a fast pass or skip the lines, first you had to buy Genie Plus, which is could roughly cost you $25 per person. So just think of a family of four. So now that's $100 in. Then if you wanted to ride a ride and skip the normal lines, it's another $20 per person. It was just massive. And then they hiked their ticket prices way up. And so they just pretty much, pushed out lower and middle class families completely out of that park. And while they were doing that, Universal and SeaWorld and Busch Gardens were like, hey, we got a cheaper ticket over here. It's like, and this is different. This is all different. And when they had their earnings call back when Chapek was there, they were saying, look at all the money we're making at our parks. Look at all the money. But eventually, like they said, that it's going to come around and bite you in the butt. Now it has. This past summer, they released a ticket that was like literally like $52 a day, which is like, they've never done that over
Wild.
summer, because summer is like that's their busiest time of the year. And they asked Bob Iger himself, like, what do you think the problem is with your parks? He goes, well, it's hot over the summer. But if you go back years and years and years and years, it's like summer's always been their biggest. It was
It
hotter
was
every
really fucking
summer.
hot this year, yeah.
But Universal did not report the same type of people not showing up because it was too hot. So there was a lot of like people choosing to go somewhere else. You
Yeah,
lose
I
that, you
think
lose
their
it all.
biggest problem across the board, because it's not like they're just having problems one aspect. It's everywhere. Whether it's the box office disappointments, whether it's the streaming problems, 20 million people unsubscribing within the last year. When you look at the attendance, this is a brand that was built on being family friendly. That's what it was. That's what it always kind of has been. And when you show families what your values actually are, that has nothing to do with being family friendly. When you're greeted with fucking bearded men in dresses at a princess boutique at Disneyland, when you're encouraging all this shit pushed in children's shows, admittedly, the not so secret gay agenda, they're trying to indoctrinate your kids. They admitted that in those Zoom calls. All of this stuff turns families off. And when that is your core demographic, what you've built your brand on being, it might have a very big impact. And it's going to take a while before those people are willing to come back, or willing to put on Disney Plus and let their kids watch, or willing to fork out all this cash to go to a place and spend, thousands of dollars on a trip to Disney. And I think all of that stuff has just piled on over the past couple of years. And certainly their legal battle with the state of Florida, when it wasn't like DeSantis went after them. They went after a law that was being passed in Florida.
Yeah.
They decided to take a stand. Bob Chapek, after saying we don't want to get involved, he bent the knee. He got on his knees in front of a rainbow-colored gun and said, we apologize. We'll do everything to fight the mean old state of Florida. We want to make sure that teachers have the right to sexualize kindergartners. When you see a company take a stand like that, you shouldn't be surprised when a lot of their core support drops away.